So I got like 20 minutes. What I'm going to do, and in 20 minutes, I'll just take a quick break, but I'll come right back. Welcome. If this is your first time joining me, I all the way appreciate the currency of your effort and your attention, and hanging out with me I'm very grateful for it. Thanks so much. Um, I'm Cory Kastle. I host a podcast called Evolving, and I co-host a podcast with my friend Beef Stew Lou Marconi called the Sunday Stew Pot. And I'm a pro wrestler, an actor, and a stand-up comedian. And I've reached out to threw it out there to the universe, to people, said, ask me stuff, ask me anything. So I think I would like to kind of make a little bit of a mini bonus episode of the podcast. So I wrote on the slate like I normally do, but I changed some of the information. So I'll go ahead. Solo episode, Cory Kastle, 369. Yow. That being said, I have to beat the drum for a minute. And if anyone's wondering, my finger is feeling better. But you see how there's this gap here that wasn't there before? Like I can touch my fingers together on my right hand, but my ring finger and my middle finger aren't touching. There's all this that I'm not doing on purpose. If anyone was wondering about that, I have a couple questions. I can't necessarily promise to answer all of them, but I appreciate everybody who sent them in. What I'm going to do right now. Bear with me just a quick sec. Nope. What is the point of having the streaming software going live to Facebook when Facebook only makes it like available for me to see it? So let me just turn that even all the way off. I'm going to end that one. Okay. So at the moment, I'm currently live on Twitch and Twitter. So X, as well as on TikTok. So any questions that come up in the meantime, just ask them to me, and I'll see about trying to answer them here live on the air. It would look like this. Here's what the sample comment would look like. Sample comment. Boom. All right. Check it out. I got a whole list of papers here. Some of them I read, some of them I didn't read. They're from kind of all over the place, and they're kind of ranging in so many different like categories. Being a multi-hyphenate that I am, there are a variety of different types of questions being asked of me, and I don't mind it. Keep them coming. If your question isn't answered, or if you're still wondering about anything, go ahead and ask me. Leave something in the comments. I'm here for you. I'm here for me too, but I'm here for you as well. So I'm just gonna go random. I got some stuff printed up here. Okay. This is international flavor. Bonjour, Cory. I'm a fan from France. What's the biggest lesson you've learned from hosting Evolving that you'd share with someone from a totally different culture? Signed, a Parisian fan. Um, Great question. Thanks for asking. I think the greatest lesson I've learned from hosting Evolving is to remove myself personally from the failures and the successes. As far as like, if I reach out to someone who I ideally would love to be a guest on the podcast, and I say all like this genuine stuff, and I go, hey, I really, from the bottom of my heart, really, really could see you and I having a great conversation, and you being a guest, ideal podcast, the ideal guest, like the dream guest for the podcast, and then they either don't respond to you or respond to you in a way that's not favorable. Remove myself from taking that personally, because there's going to be like people see real surface level, and there's going to be hundreds of people reaching out to this person to ask for their attention. Like I say to you guys when I started this, I appreciate the effort, the currency that is your effort and your attention. So anybody who's trying to get to soak up this person's energy and this person's attention and effort, uh, I can't put it on myself that every other person may have wasted this person's time and build a bad reputation in their head. Maybe I'm clout chasing in their minds. Maybe they don't have the layers of me. I'm Shrek. Shrek's an ogre. Ogres have layers. They're like an onion. So my biggest lesson I've learned from evolving is you know uh, you can't control every single thing. You can't have things go exactly the way you thought they were going to go, because like that's just kind of the way life is, and life is evolving. Thanks for your question, and bonjour to you. The opposite of bonjour. What did they say? And what did you say, Mr. Deeds? The opposite of bonjour to you. On to the second question. Not they're not. These aren't in any particular type of order. So I'm just grateful. I have maybe about 14 minutes left before I have to kind of take a pause, and I'll swing back on here for part two. But right now, um, I, I don't have a name on this one, but it says, "Dear Cory, I want to perform, but I'm not confident about how I look. How do I change my mindset and stop worrying about what people think of my body on stage or in the ring?" Signed, trying to step into the spotlight. Um, it's let me try to back up and go back into what your words were to kind of break this down. You want to perform, right? So I'm guessing that's because it says I'm not confident about how I look. Change my mindset to stop worrying about what people think of me, of my body on the stage or in the ring. So you're trying to be a stand-up comedy, a stand-up comedian, an actor, or a pro wrestler. Um, there, there are all types of bodies doing all types of things. So comparing yourself to anyone else it feels foolish. It feels very foolish, and I don't want to call you a fool, but really, it's like you'll just drive yourself into this cycle of never being good enough if you're comparing yourself to somebody who you just see the surface of things. If you just see what their exterior looks like, what their appearances are. You don't see what their rejections are. You don't see what their journey's been that has led. Excuse me, the train's disagreeing. on a train track, so occasionally the train comes through like clockwork. Throws me off my train of thought. But yeah, um, your your body and what your body looks like is only a reflection of what your mind looks like. So if you sort of take that exterior part of it out of the whole equation and think of your mind and what you have to offer. Think about like how you would stand out in any of these situations. Like how are you somebody who deserves to be on this stage? And I mean, I bring this lesson back. I learned 20 years ago from Eddie Valentine. Eddie Valentine told me that he was my trainer. He taught me about etiquette and he told me about how to carry yourself in the wrestling business. And it was really like he broke it down saying like anything you want to be in life, you can be it, right? So like meaning like if you want to be a baseball player, you could be a baseball player at your school. If you wanted to be a football player, you could be a football player at your school. If you wanted to be a martial artist, there's dojos set up at strip malls all over. If you want to do MMA, you could do that anywhere. If, if you found yourself in the place where you want to do those things, especially pro wrestling. Pro wrestling, there's not wrestling schools set up in strip malls. Just all over. It doesn't happen. You really have to do your research. You have to seek out. You have to seek out the training and the process of doing that work. So if you seek that out, and if you showed up, that's the thing. You showed up because you believe you deserve to be there. So everything you do should serve the purpose that you believe that you belong there. And hold your head up high, because if you believed you belong there on that stage, in that ring, then why should anyone have anything to say about any of that? You, you're the only one that's you. You're the only one that's inside this head. You're the only one who's lived your experience. Live that experience out loud on purpose. Thanks for your time. Thanks for your question. I'm going to move on. I really have about 9.5 minutes. This one is, the title is, what do you admire in a strong woman? What do you admire in strong women? It says, Dear Cory, as a fan of Alyssa and you both, I'd love to ask, what do you think is the most powerful quality in a woman? Oh, what? As a fan of Alyssa and you both, I'd love to ask, what do you think is the most powerful quality a woman can have? Signed, Curious and Inspired. Um, okay, so what do you think is the most powerful quality a woman can have? Um, all right, so the most powerful quality a woman can have is um, confidence. I think confidence in their mind, like about I'm making these decisions and I'm making things happen, and like I'm certain that this certainty is a big one. Certainty is a big part of that confidence thing. It's really like, okay, so like these are the things that I want to be, and here's me being those things. Here's the stuff I want to do, and I'm doing them. And if you want to do those things with me, come do them with me. Like it's that figure it out thing, that figure it out confidence, that like we'll do it together. Like I'll figure it out. That's the thing that made me go, this isn't just some person. This isn't just some girl. This is a woman. This is somebody who's got a drive, and she has like a a light that I can't really explain. I'm grateful for your time and your question. So thanks so much for dropping it. Um, Curious and inspired. I appreciate it. So I got about 7 minutes left before I got to take a little break. Female audience perception. This is what this email is titled. Cory, do you think your wrestling/comedy resonates with female fans differently, or do you create from a universal place and just let people connect however they connect? Observing from the crowd. So I don't. You kind of answered your own question. I don't specifically write for a male or female crowd audience. I don't perform with the mindset of like this group's really gonna like this or that group's really not gonna like this or whatever. Funny's funny, and if I think something's funny, chances are other people are gonna find it funny, regardless of their gender. But if female fans love what I'm doing, I love that. If you know my comedy or my podcast or my wrestling or any of that stuff, I mean, I'm not sure how many females are left being pro wrestling fans, but like I hope there's a lot. I hope that there's some out there, and if so, and you don't know this podcast, you don't know who I am. Go ahead and hit subscribe. Go ahead and comment and like and subscribe and do all the buttons. What is it? All the buttons would be on this side, right? If it's Twitter, I'm sorry, if it's like a TikTok, all the buttons are right here, right? So hit, or hit them up and down or up, however, hit all of those buttons and leave a comment that says like, brother, I didn't know you knew that. I didn't know you think that. I didn't know you said that. I didn't know you did that. I didn't know you lived through that. I didn't know you survived that. I didn't know you were inspired by that. I'm also inspired by this, and I'm inspired by that. If you're inspired by anything I ever say or do, drop it in the comments. Drop it in the comments. Say what's up. Because this is currency. The currency of your effort and your attention tells the world, tells the algorithm that I'm a source. I'm an influential source that can kind of speak with some knowledge. I've had a lot of life experience, and I'm still going. I'm still living it, and then I relay it right back to y'all. I'm I said this recently a lot. At this point in wrestling, I have kind of surpassed what I thought I'd be. I surpassed the amount of time I thought I'd be this. I've forgotten more about time I've spent in the wrestling business than most people will ever or have ever known. So me being able to say that confidently and be pretty self-assured that that's the truth. I want to share some of that with y'all. So follow me along the way. My dog's freaking out. All right. So I don't really have an order of how these are going. So like that, since I printed them up, and some of them are top and some of them are bottom, and some of them are the numbers. They're not numbered. Of how I printed them, it's chaos. So I don't know who signed. Like I just have a random signature at the top of one page. I don't have So here I go. I'm just continue reading the messages uh, that I got when I put the bulletin out. Say, hey, leave me some mail. Write me some messages and give me some inquiries. Let me know how I can advise you if I could, and if if it brings any value to your life, I'll read them here on the air. Thanks so much for your time and your effort, and everybody who wrote in. Sorry, I'm not going to get to all of them, but I'm going to get to a good portion, a good chunk of them. So I'll go on with the next one. Okay, so this isn't signed by any name, so it's just people kind of are signing them like a Dear Abby sort of thing. It seems like that that's almost preferred. I rather it that way than you have to like. It's almost that anonymity that Dear Abby gets. Dear Cory, I feel like you're comfortable being vulnerable, which a lot of men struggle with. What do you think women understand that side? Wait, which I'm sorry. Let me restart. I'm my first day reading without peeing my pants. If, Dear Cory, it feels like you're comfortable being vulnerable, which a lot of men struggle with. Do you think women understand that side of you differently than men do? Signed, a listener paying attention. Um, I think I never thought about who would understand that more as much as it just helps me understand me a little bit more. Uh, Vulnerability is, I think, a part of sincerity, a part of being genuine to who you are. And I've kind of learned that since 2017, first putting the show out. And it's like I look back on the kind of person I was previous to having this platform, and the kind of person I became through having it and having the availability of being vulnerable and opening up and being honest about who I am and what I've got going on or what I've dealt with or what I've struggled with. And um, it, I don't think I focus too much on who it's for as much as I know that it's for me. And I hope that more people live that way, regardless of age, gender, sexual orientation, race, any of that. That's all. We're all humans. We're all having those. I mean, unless you're not a human, unless you're a robot, which I mean, like I understand, and I feel like a robot sometimes. I feel like a tree. Day one wrestling training as a woman is the subject line. Dear Cory, I want to try your wrestling school, but I'm scared I'll be judged or not taken seriously. What would you say to someone like me walking in on day one? Signed, nervous but ready. Ah, I would say the same sort of thing that I said in the previous question was if you seeked this out, if you seeked out training to be a pro wrestler, you're already part of something that's a little more. It's a shame because I used to use the word elite for this, but now it seems cheapened. But you're a little bit more like tuned in. You're on purpose of like I believe I belong here doing this. So if you seek that part out, the fear is going to come in and go. The fear is going to come and go. The some of the stuff it's gonna come to you eventually. You're not going to get everything right away. And anybody who's watching you and is already in it isn't going to judge you, or like it's more like you're gonna get cheered on for training. So like go ahead and feel free to reach out to me uh, with your DMs, any of your questions or information about joining me at the wrestling school in media, PA, and we'll get you a tryout. See how you feel about it. See if you're somebody, if it feels like something that you might see yourself uh, being all right at. I mean, you're not gonna get it right away, but I mean, like, we'll work together and we'll we'll make sure you have some fun. Oh, another international question. Question from a UK fan. I haven't read this, so this is my first time reading it. That's why some of the ones when I read them they're a little jumbled because this is my first time reading some of these. Greetings from London. I've been listening to Evolving for a while and love your international reach. Do you ever plan to do a live show or meet and greet here in the UK? Cheers from across the pond. Do I plan on it? No, I have not planned it. I've not thought about it. I really, if y'all are demanding it and think that somebody um, would would want me there, like for like a promotion or some sort of convention or something, like reach out to me. My DMs are wide open. Thank you for writing me this message. I appreciate your time and your effort. And I really, I hadn't considered it before, but now I'll be heavily considering it. Thank you for reaching out. This one's nice. This one's funny. The subject is, do you still get nervous performing? Cory, even with all of your experience, do you still get nervous before shows? Signed, hoping the answer is yes. Uh, it's a different kind of nervous. I mean, it's still there. Like, of course, I still get nervous performing. It's like I can feel my teeth chattering sometimes, like before shows. But it's like I now have this comfortability that I never had before. And I think that comes with vulnerability. I think that comes with the fact that, like, I know that this is a thing that I'm good at. I know that this is a sport that I'm good at. I know that this is an art form that I'm pretty good at. I know that I deserve to be at the places or on the stages or in the rings that I'm in, the stages that I'm on. That I deserve to be in front of the cameras that I'm in front of. I deserve to be behind the cameras that I'm behind. I I do have that experience, and I do have, and that all of that comes with time because, man, when I was first starting, I get so nervous, like like stupid nervous. Probably more nervous behind a camera when a camera was this close to my face, like this, like when it would be me speaking, talking into a microphone, especially like recording a podcast or something. I would get so nervous, and I would, like, my teeth would chatter. Or if it would be like when I would do the sketches, when we would do the comedy sketches with Rick, and like some of them are on YouTube still. You can check some of them out. Some of them we had to delete them because they're cancelable. But some people still have DVDs of that stuff that Rick and I did and ask me to sign them at certain events that I'm at. So thanks for that question. I hope that that's somehow valuable to you. And once again, if you do get nervous, tell me about what makes you nervous. Leave it in the comments. Tell me this. I get nervous when I fly. I get nervous when I sing. Look. I can't sing and I can't dance, but I know I can do comedy. I know I can make people laugh. I know I can entertain wrestling fans. I know that I can relate to people. That's something that I know I can do. Not a thing that I think I can do or I'm pretty sure I can do. I know I can do those things. And that confidence lives within you as well. Like there's things that you know that you can do. Some people know they can do work on a car or some. So it's just the amount of it's just the amount of experience that you have that makes you into like an expert on things. Not to say that you have to think you're an expert on anything at all. Comment below expert so I know you're paying attention. Thanks for your effort. Thanks for your email. Moving on. Spark, serious question. When everything is said and done, how do you hope people remember Cory Kastle? Signed, a fan thinking about tomorrow. This is a interesting question because it definitely comes from somebody who hears me. When it comes to how I'll be remembered, is I hope that anybody, and it's an ongoing thing. It's like I got a text message from a friend today saying like with a picture. This was like 4 years ago. He sent me a picture from 4 years ago. No, it wasn't from 4 years ago. It was from today, but it was from a song that I introduced him to 4 years ago. That he said that still plays on repeat in my car. So it's like there's just these little mini things. Like I just want my legacy and what I'm remembered by to be like moments that are like I heard somebody talking about somebody still tells a joke that they heard from you. Somebody still laughs at a memory they have that involves you. I just want nothing but those. And I think sometimes I'll throw out quotes or like theories that I have, and I'll say, if you can apply this to your life, please go ahead and do it. If you give me credit for it, cool. If not, like whatever. At least you've got that cool thing now. I really think that what is it? Speak in sound bites. Like, comment, and subscribe to Evolving. Follow at Cory Kastle everywhere. CoryKastle. And make sure you leave it in the comments. What do you want your legacy to be? That's what I want to know. I want to know that my legacy is the guy who connected with people who wanted to build on theirs. I would like to be somebody who is seen as a willing collaborator in growth for all. Has anyone ever thanked you for changing their life? Dear Cory, has anyone ever told you that something you said on a podcast or stage actually changed their life? And what did that feel like? Signed, someone hoping that happens to me too. Okay. This is always a cool thing. It's always a very cool thing, and I'm always very grateful for it. The one thing, I mean, I don't know if it's a thing that specifically they had heard on a podcast, but definitely something on stage. Someone told me that my bird joke is they think about it every time they see a bird when they're driving. The joke was like I say, stop comparing yourself to everybody else. Nobody's got it as figured out as you think they do. Like you see I'm overdoing it. I'm overtagging it. This is not how it goes. It's way simpler. Say, stop comparing yourself to other people. The way I look at it, I think about birds. Birds. They got the entire sky. Some of them still get hit by cars. Not everybody's got it figured out. And people tell me like they think of me every time they almost hit. Oh, I almost hit a bird with my car, and I thought of you. That always makes me laugh. So sometimes it'll be other little things like other bits that I've done, or sometimes people talk to me about knowing that they'll be able to get through something after hearing me talk about surviving brain surgery and going through that whole process 14 years ago. Can you believe that was 14 years ago? Jeez. So there's 3 on that page. Who was your least favorite guest? Hey, Cory, not to be negative, but I'm super curious. Without naming names, do you have a guest you really didn't vibe with? Signed, I promise I won't tell. Um, um, have one guest. I'm not gonna name. I'm not gonna name names because you told me I don't have to, and I'm sure I've talked about it on here before. Um, but the guy asked me to give him like this big, breathy, fluffy intro that I don't do. I don't do things like that. It felt really insincere. And when we got live on the air, uh, he was outside and he was having like a party at his house, and all these people were out on his deck, and like he was like snorting cocaine on the pod, like we were on the pod, and like we were sitting here on a Zoom call talking, and he was doing lines, and I was like, I can't air this, I can't put this on my podcast. I'm like, what is this? And and uh, and then the episode came out, and he was like promising all this like big numbers from it because like he was a person who was like a star, like in the 80s, 90s. So I thought something was gonna come from it. Like he was a multi-genre star in film, and it just wound up smelling like a big old fart. On to the next question. How do you balance wrestling and comedy? Cory, I'm fascinated how you switch between wrestler and comedian. Do you feel like they're the same person or two different versions of you? Signed, Hobby Juggler. Thanks, Hobby Juggler. Is that at Hobby Juggler? I can't even say it. Is that at Hobby Juggler? Um, so, the switch between wrestler and comedian, um, it sometimes feels the same and sometimes feels different. Like I broke it down for a really long time saying like I want to be a good wrestler and I want to be a funny comedian, but I don't necessarily want to be a funny wrestler. So I didn't want to be labeled with like a comedy gimmick. Sometimes I'll do spots that are funny, but that doesn't mean that all my wrestling revolves around comedy or all my comedy revolves around wrestling. So there's definitely a separate thing. Like there's a separation between Cory Kastle, the wrestler, and Cory Kastle, the comedian. So uh, it's a delicate balance, but I know that I have a lot of the lessons that I learned in comedy I apply to pro wrestling, and a lot of the lessons that I learned in pro wrestling I applied to stand up comedy. So like they're kind of the same. So I'm the same guy. There's no denying that I'm the same guy. But like when I'm on stage in comedy, none of those people know who I am. None of those people, like, I mean, not yet, not yet. At this point, I'm not a draw yet. Um, so like when I'm doing comedy to people, I say I'm a wrestler, they could believe me or not. Sometimes people think that me talking about being a wrestler is just a bit. I mean, like, I could say it even if I'm not. Just by the looks of me, they'd be go, okay, yeah, I get why this guy's saying this. So I guess it's a balance on both ends, and on both ends, I want it to all make sense. I don't I don't talk too much about how I'm a wrestler when I get on stage and do comedy, because I don't think, like, for the most of the time I've been doing stand up comedy, um, pro wrestling hasn't had a huge like following. Like pro wrestling wasn't all that big up until recently. Like I feel like a lot of the people who are crowds at the mics I was doing or at the shows that I was doing were other comedians, and like they weren't wrestling fans. Like I talk about pro wrestling and they don't care. But nowadays it's like if I get in front of like rooms of comics, they all like kind of mark out for wrestling, but not for me specifically. They don't know who I am or what I've done, which is understandable because not a whole lot of people do. Um, what's your biggest bomb on stage? I'm trying, dear Spark, I'm trying stand up and I want to hear your worst bomb ever. Like crowd staring, no laughs level. What happened and how'd you recover? Signed Future Comedy Warrior. Um, okay, so I don't know about the worst, but this is one of the worst ones. It was very early when I first started. Like I did my first comedy open mic, and I killed. Like it was I'm gonna say 2008 probably my first time I ever did stand up comedy, and it killed. I did so good. When I say killed, I mean I might be delusional. I probably did okay, but I mean if it goes really good, you know a bomb's coming the next time. But this is something I didn't know yet at the time. So I did the first one I did was in Helium Comedy Club, and it was like, oh man, I feel like a real comedian. And then the next open mic I did was at like a coffee house, and the the list was like in order, and I showed up later than everybody else. So there was like me and this. I was like me right after this one guy. So like me and the other guy, we were the only ones left. And by that time, when I first showed up there, the crowd there was a huge crowd, and they were laughing at everything. And they were like a really hot crowd. And then like as it went on, the room started thinning out. People stopped being there for it. You know what I mean? Like it became like an emptier room. They're like, the host guy came up to me and said, "Hey, there's two guys left, you and this other guy." And he was like, "I don't even know if that other guy's still here. But let me go check." So then he goes back on stage and he goes, "Hey, your next comedian, if you're here, say something. His name is the Joker." Um, so there's this guy in the back of the room wearing like a fedora, and he has a laptop. He's got and he's like playing some game on his laptop, and then he closed the laptop and he goes, "Here." Then the guy goes to the front of the stage, and he is mentally challenged. He's a mentally challenged man, and he's telling this really long story, and everybody gets up and leaves. Either everybody gets up and leaves, or the people who did stay were just quiet and not laughing one bit. Not at all. The guy tells one closer, which I thought was great. I laughed my butt off at his closer. He said something about like he he uh, he stuck his fingers in the glory hole. And he said something about like the joke was that he was in a stall, and he saw a hole in the one wall of the stall, and he stuck his fingers through it, and someone smacked poop on his hand, and he went ah, and put his hands right in his mouth, and that cracked me up. That made me laugh so hard. Um, then then he was like, "Oh, this is your." And then the host got up there and he said, "Here's your last guy, Cory Kastle." Nothing. First joke, nothing. Second joke, nothing. Third joke, I was like, I got like three more jokes, and maybe it isn't even worth doing. So I got up and I just said, "Okay, I'm done. That's all I got," and I left. Even though I had more, I just said I I'm just pulling the plug on this whole thing. And how I recovered from that was I waited another week and I got up and did it again somewhere else with different material. Because you gotta just constantly try new stuff. You gotta constantly bring new jokes. I mean, that's funny because some of the jokes that I use are stuff I've been using for a long time. But like, some of that is stuff that you're sculpting it still. Like some comedians will talk to you about other comedians that they've seen doing the same jokes for 30 years. I mean, I haven't been around that long. But, damn it. I just dropped a bunch of cards on the floor. Like 52 card pickup. What's a moment that changed everything? Cory, you've lived a hell of a journey. Was there one moment where your whole mindset shifted, like a life glitch moment? Looking for a glitch moment too. That's who sent this message. I I think a big thing was when I started talking about stuff that I've always thought about but never said out loud. Was the biggest moment. Mostly, I'm gonna have to say that I give that credit right back to this platform, to this podcast, to this. To this relationship I have with this microphone. The type of person that I was versus the type of person that I am is always changing, and I'm never the guy I was. I said early on when I first started doing the podcast, when I'd say, I always wanted to write like an autobiography. I always wanted to write a book about my journey, but then, like, I would be like, let's say I had it out for like 10 years and I said something in the book that I no longer agreed with. I'd hate to have someone's feelings be terribly hurt by something that they read that they didn't agree with. They say, like, reach out to me and say, hey, I didn't agree with this. Or, hey, I don't agree with this thing you wrote in this book. This hurt me. And I'm like, I don't agree with it now either. Who I was when I wrote that is a different guy than I am now. And then I thought about Wayne's World when he was like, what if you had a weekly spot on a television show where you could come on and update the people about the new games you got coming out? So I treated it like Noah's Arcade. I come out here and advertise the newest thoughts and get the better idea on the kind of person, and always evolving and updating who I am and upgrading myself and upgrading hopefully my audience with the more information I'm putting out there. Okay, I'm gonna just read one or two more, and then I'm gonna call it a night. I hope everybody who's listening is enjoying themselves. Everybody who's watching, everybody who's tuned in. Thanks for joining me. I appreciate your time. I appreciate the effort and the attention. If you could just leave something in the comments, letting me know that you're enjoying what I'm putting out here. I love it. I love all the comments. I love all the engagement. I love all the back and forth. It's my favorite. Someone wrote the subject advice for someone starting a podcast. Cory, I want to start a podcast but feel overwhelmed. From your experience, what's the first thing I should focus on? Signed a future podcaster. I'm going to say the first thing you should focus on with anything you want to start is why do you want to do it? Like, I'm, like your experience. I mean, I don't know who you are. I don't know what your experiences are. I don't know what you lend to this podcast space, but I know it'd be something because not everyone has your experience. Not everybody has your voice. Not everyone has your brain. Everybody has their own unique things. So you've got all these unique things that you could probably teach a lot of people a lot of things with. So I wouldn't discourage you from starting it. I know the world's going to discourage you enough. Start planning on what it would be. Start looking up things that like inspire other podcasts that inspire you. I know when I started this podcast, I was a part of a wrestling podcast called Wrestle Rock with my BFFs Rick Connor and Matt Flowers, and I was third man in a panel type show, and I was doing a lot of listening to WTF with Mark Maron. I was listening to a lot of Joe Rogan Experience. I was listening to a lot of You Made It Weird with Pete Holmes. And I listened to an episode of You Made It Weird with TJ Miller. TJ Miller, I'm going to say this was probably 2012 when I was listening to this, 2013 maybe. And TJ Miller was telling the entire story of how he survived this AVM, which is an arterial venous malformation. It's a brain injury, which was the same thing I had gone through. And I was like, just listening to this vulnerability and hearing him be like having on the record conversations talking about how important friendships were and like calling people out by name and really like kind of like focusing on the legacy part that we were talking about and talking a lot about stuff that I would have liked to talk about publicly regarding myself and what I went through with my brain surgery and what I went through with my emotional growth going through that. And so I would be a part of this panel podcast where it was a wrestling podcast. We would only be able to talk about, wrestling. And I couldn't really express me and my personal things without I just wanted to kind of be goofy. Like, of course I'm a goofy guy. I'm always making jokes. So they'd only get my goofy side and then I wouldn't be too serious about who I am and what I think and heavy opinions that I've got. And I was, like I said, listening to a lot of these other shows and I was curious about if I had that type of platform, what would I do with it? And these are the questions you've got to ask yourself. If you had this kind of platform, what would you do with it? And it's going to serve mostly as sort of like a therapy. It's a timestamp in who I am and when I am that kind of guy and who I become. So let's say I'm in a couple weeks, I'm going to be 42 years old. I started this podcast when I was 33. So I can go in a timeline. I can go in a timestamp and listen back and watch back to who I was and listen to this is the guy that I was back in 2017 when I first started the show, and these are the things I thought, and this was the kind of voice that I had. Like my voice sounds different. Like it sounds like a totally different guy. And like I was fully a totally different guy. Not only was I a different guy, I didn't consider myself a man yet at that time. I was still like going, oh, I'm just a guy. I'm this guy. But like now I have this like, I'm confident that I'm a man because I didn't have men raise me. And I just really had like kind of piss poor examples for like what kind of man to be. So I never thought I really became one until like I started looking around. I'm like, you know what? I'm a pretty good man. And that's like a discovery I had to make on my own. And, that goes back to finding a good woman. And, start that podcast, man. You're not in any way competition to me because this isn't about success uh, from the podcast. This is about success for me. This is about becoming the person that I want to become. This is about showing other people how to become that for themselves. Um, so if that if that brings any value to you, please pursue it. Whatever it is you want to pursue it. If it's starting a YouTube channel, getting a TikTok following, or getting a Twitter following, getting whatever you want to do it. If it's about starting a business, if it's about uh, building a house, if it's about building a hobby, do it. Absolutely do it. Like nobody else knows you as much as you know you. So get out there and do the thing that you want to do. And, stay kind in the meantime. Thanks for joining me. If this is your first time checking out the podcast. Uh, I'll be Normally, I'm joined by a guest, but today I decided that I was going to go solo on this. If you're if you're if you're interested in checking out the other episodes, you can go back and check the archives on all the streaming platforms, all the podcasting platforms. Uh, look up Evolving anywhere. Look up Cory Kastle anywhere. At Cory Kastle, CoryKastle. Check out the Sunday Stew Pot. Check out Hemisphere Coffee Roasters. Check out all that butter. And be kind to yourself. Be kind to others. Like, comment, subscribe. Be fun. Have safe. Keep evolving. Bye.